They say some names should never be spoken aloud. In the quiet villages of Japan, between the rice fields and the whispering bamboo, there lives a story of a woman 8 feet tall. Hachishaku-sama. Her voice is soft, almost kind. A rhythm that sounds like laughter carried by the wind. Greater than po, po, po. Those who hear it never forget. Children vanish, families pray. And once her shadow touches yours, she follows you wherever you go. Across generations, across cities, across time itself. This is the story of one boy who heard her voice and survived, or thought he did. Chapter 1. The Laugh in the Summer Wind. My name is Daichi, and I was 12 years old that summer. After my parents divorced, I was sent to live with my grandparents in a small rural village outside of Shizuoka, a quiet place where old beliefs still lingered like fog at dawn. The village sat hidden between endless rice fields and an ancient bamboo forest that whispered whenever the wind passed through. Everything seemed peaceful until that evening. The sun was sinking low, painting the fields gold. I chased a white butterfly through the garden, deeper and deeper into the bamboo grove behind the house. The air was warm and heavy, filled with the chirping of cicadas. Then, greater than po, 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 a soft, strange laugh drifted through the air. It was faint, yet it froze me where I stood. Between the tall bamboo stalks, I saw her. A woman taller than any human should be, her head nearly touching the branches above. She wore a long, white dress that brushed the ground and a straw hat so wide it shadowed her face. Her long black hair hung down like a curtain. She tilted her head slowly. The hat shifted. And again. Greater than po, po, po. The sound wasn't just heard, it vibrated inside my chest, deep and hollow like the echo of a drum. I stumbled backward, heart racing. She took a single step toward me. The bamboo creaked. A black bird screamed and burst from the grove. I turned and ran, tripping over roots, not daring to look back until I reached the house. Dash dash dash. When I told my grandmother what I'd seen, her hands froze mid-stirring at the stove. Her face went pale. "What did you hear?" she whispered. "A laugh," I said. It sounded like po, po, po. Without another word, she rushed to the door, pressed paper talismans against the frame, and locked every window. That night, I wasn't allowed to leave my room. Grandfather sat on the porch, smoking silently, his face lit only by the red tip of his pipe. He finally said, voice low and rough, "Greater than, if you truly heard that sound, then she's already chosen you." Dash dash dash. I lay in bed, eyes wide open. Outside, the wind rattled the shutters. The cicadas had stopped singing. And then, greater than po, po, po. This time, it came from right outside the window. I pulled the blanket over my head and tried not to breathe. The night air grew cold, unnaturally still. Then a whisper brushed against my ear, so close I could feel the breath behind it. Greater than, Daichi, I see you. Chapter 2. The Curse of Shizuoka Village. When morning light slipped through the paper doors, I woke with a strange heaviness that only nightmares leave behind. But this wasn't a dream. The laughter, the towering woman, the whisper of my name, everything had been too real. Grandmother was already at the altar, eyes swollen from a sleepless night. She placed a bowl of rice and a glass of water before the household shrine, her lips moving in silent prayers. The scent of incense hung thick in the air. When grandfather came in, he carried a small wooden box bound with a red string. He sat across from me, his expression grave. Greater than, listen carefully. Daichi, he said. There are things in this village that should never be spoken of. Dash dash dash. He untied the box and opened it. Inside lay an old yellowed talisman, a few strands of long black hair, and a tiny cracked mirror. These, he said quietly, are all that's left of a child, from 30 years ago. I didn't understand, but the tremor in his voice made my stomach twist. Dash dash dash. The story of Kana. It happened in the summer of 1987. A little girl named Kana, 8 years old, vanished one evening near the western bamboo forest. Witnesses said she had been talking to a very tall woman wearing a white dress and a straw hat. That night, Kana disappeared without a trace. The police searched for weeks, but her body was never found. Only an old man claimed to have heard a strange laugh echoing through the bamboo. Greater than po, po, po. After that, terrible things began to happen. Farm animals died mysteriously. The village well filled with white foam. And every time a child cried, people swore they could hear a woman's soft laughter in the wind. A monk from Kyoto was called to investigate. After days of ritual, he told the villagers, greater than, a female spirit has been bound here for centuries. She takes the form of a woman 8 shaku tall, feeding on the souls of children to prolong her existence. From then on, the villagers called her Hachishaku-sama, the 8-foot woman. The village rules. Since that day, the village lived under strict rules. Never leave your home after sunset. Never let children near the bamboo forest. And if anyone hears the sound, po, 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 report to the elder immediately. Grandfather's eyes darkened. Greater than, we thought the curse was gone. But if you've heard that sound, it means Hachishaku-sama has chosen you. I trembled. What do we do? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he took out a fresh talisman, inked in red, and pressed it against my chest. Greater than, tonight, the exorcist will come. You must not leave this room until it's over. If the ritual fails. He paused, voice breaking slightly. Greater than, she'll take you before the next full moon. When night fell, the sky turned heavy with clouds, the wind sharp with rain. The cicadas stopped singing. I sat in the center of my room surrounded by rings of salt. 4 talismans on the walls. Outside, grandfather, grandmother, and a few villagers chanted softly under the flickering candlelight. Then the clock struck 9. The wind roared. The candle flames went out. And from beyond the paper window came that sound again. Greater than, po, po, po. The walls trembled. Footsteps, slow, dragging, crossed the porch. Through the thin paper screen, a shadow appeared, tall, impossibly tall, its head nearly touching the roof. A pale, bony hand slid down the frame, leaving streaks of dark red. My body locked in terror. And then, a whisper came through the wall, soft and intimate. Greater than, Daichi, I see you. Chapter 3. The Sealing Ritual in the Black Moon Night. The sky that night was suffocatingly dark, no moon, no stars, only the slow whisper of wind brushing against the bamboo. Inside my grandparents' house, every door and window was sealed with talismans. The air was thick with incense and fear. Priest Kubo, a monk from Kyoto, had come to perform the ritual. He wore a white robe, a red headband, and carried strange tools, a cracked mirror, bowls of pure salt, and 3 black candles. His face was lined and weary, like someone who had seen too many things humans were never meant to see. Greater than, the boy has been marked, he said in a rough whisper. We have until dawn to cut her connection. After that, she'll claim him completely. The ritual begins. I sat in the center of the room. Salt was placed around me in a perfect circle, with 4 talismans pinned at the corners. In front of me sat a bowl of blessed water reflecting the flickering light of the candles. Grandfather stood guard outside with a wooden sword. Grandmother clutched her prayer beads, her lips trembling as she chanted. Priest Kubo poured a dark liquid over my head. It smelled metallic and cold, like rusted iron. He began to chant in a low, rhythmic tone. Greater than, Namu Daishi Henho Kongo. Namu Daishi Henho Kongo. The words pulsed through the air. The temperature dropped so suddenly that I could see my breath. Then, from outside the house, greater than, po, po, po. It was faint at first, then closer. The laughter came from the front porch, soft and patient. The knocking. Knock, knock, knock. 3 knocks against the door. Priest Kubo's voice rose sharply. Greater than, don't answer. No matter who calls. "Don't speak, don't move." But the knocking continued, slow, steady, deliberate. Then I heard her voice. Not the hollow laughter. This was my grandmother's voice. Greater than, "Daichi, open the door. Dear, it's cold outside." I froze. Grandmother was right there beside Priest Kubo, her lips still moving in prayer. So whose voice was that? The door rattled. From behind the thin paper screen, a shadow taller than the frame itself loomed, its head pressed against the ceiling. Greater than, po, po, po. The candles went out. The world plunged into darkness. Dash dash dash. The mirror. Priest Kubo lit the second candle, his hands shaking. He held the old mirror toward me. Greater than, look inside. Tell me what you see. I leaned closer. In the dim light, my reflection stared back, but behind me stood a woman in white. Her face hidden by hair, her body bending unnaturally low. Her hands slid out of the reflection, long and gray and sharp at the tips. Greater than, po, po, po. Kubo shouted, flinging salt and talismans at the mirror. It shattered instantly. A gust of freezing wind tore through the room, scattering ashes and brooms and prayers alike. Greater than, hold him down. Kubo cried. The seal isn't finished. I felt something pulling at my chest, cold fingers clawing through my ribs, trying to drag my soul away. Then came the scream, high, shrill, not human. It echoed through the walls, shaking the entire house. Dash dash dash. After the ritual. When I woke, sunlight filled the room. The floor was covered with burned talismans and spilled salt. Priest Kubo lay unconscious near the door, his robe torn, his face pale. Grandfather's eyes were hollow, his voice barely a whisper. Greater than, he stopped her, for now. Before leaving, the priest said only one thing. Greater than, I sealed her again, but the binding won't last. If the boy ever leaves this village, she'll follow him. Chapter 4. The Shadow in the Bamboo Forest. 3 days passed after the sealing ritual. The air in my grandparents' house still felt heavy, like the walls remembered everything that had happened that night. Priest Kubo stayed with us, resting in silence. He said the binding had weakened but not broken. She's watching, he whispered, from the forest, waiting for a moment of fear. Every night I could still feel her, the slow rhythm of her breath in the wind, brushing against the paper doors like a ghost's whisper. Dash dash dash. The strange voice. That night, the sky cracked open with rain. The storm pounded on the roof, a steady rhythm that almost drowned the beating of my heart. Grandfather sat on the porch, cigarette glowing faintly in the dark. Priest Kubo prayed quietly in his room, candlelight flickering against the sliding doors. Around midnight, through the pounding rain, I heard it. Greater than, Grandpa, please open the door for me. My blood ran cold. It was my own voice. Greater than, Grandpa, it's me, please, I'm cold. I froze, my hands gripping the futon tight. Grandfather didn't move, he stood up slowly, gripping the wooden sword. Priest Kubo stepped out from the shadows, eyes wide. Greater than, it's her. She's mimicking the boy's voice. Then, silence. The rain stopped as if the world had been muted. And through that dead silence, came the sound. Greater than, po, po, po. Dash dash dash. Priest Kubo's departure. The next morning, Priest Kubo said he needed to check the western bamboo forest, where the original seal had been placed. Grandmother begged him not to go, but he only smiled faintly. Greater than, if I don't go, he said, she'll break free completely, and the boy will die. He took his charms, his drum, and his ceremonial knife, and walked alone toward the forest. The clouds were gray and low, the wind so strong that the bamboo groaned like dying men. Hours passed, he didn't return. Dash dash dash. At dusk. By sunset, Grandfather gathered the villagers to search. I was told to stay inside, but fear clawed at me, pushing me to the window. Outside, the forest swayed violently, leaves slicing through the air like razors. And then, between the trees, I saw them. 2 figures. One was a man in white robes, limping, dragging something heavy. The other, taller than any human, her white dress billowing in the storm, her straw hat hiding her face. As the wind parted the bamboo, I saw Priest Kubo clearly. His face was pale, eyes empty, and around his neck was a dark purple mark, like a handprint pressed deep into his flesh. The woman leaned close to him, her long hair covering both their faces. Then she lifted her head slowly and smiled. A grotesque, broken smile stretching from cheek to cheek. Greater than, po, po, po. I screamed and fell backward. The rain returned all at once, hammering against the house like fists. Dash dash dash. The jar of salt. At dawn, the villagers found Kubo's knife and a shattered jar of salt beneath a bamboo tree. Inside the jar was a small piece of parchment, scrawled in dried blood. Greater than, she isn't dead. She is the curse itself, not the spirit. Do not let the boy leave the village. If he does, she will follow. Chapter 5. The Night of the White Shadow. That night, the village sank into silence. Even the cicadas, so loud during summer, had gone quiet, as if they too sensed something watching. The wind carried the smell of burnt incense from the shrine, and every house had its doors locked and talismans pressed tight against the frames. Grandmother made me sleep inside the main room, surrounded by bowls of salt and a circle of paper charms. Grandfather sat outside with his wooden sword, eyes fixed on the forest. No one spoke. The air felt frozen in fear. Dash dash dash. The first knock. Somewhere around midnight, I woke to the faintest sound. Greater than knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps on the sliding door. I held my breath. Then came a voice. Greater than, Daichi, open the door. It's Grandma. I dropped the key. I froze. Grandmother was sleeping beside me. Her chest rose and fell gently. The voice outside spoke again, softer this time, almost sweet. Greater than, Daichi, please. It's cold out here. Then, from behind the door, came a whisper, dragging through the wood like nails. Greater than, po, po, po. My hands shook. I pressed my palms against my ears. But the sound wasn't outside anymore. It was inside my head. Dash dash dash. The white shadow. The candle on the altar flickered wildly. Shadows stretched across the walls, twisting, merging, becoming something tall. Too tall. A pale hand slid down the paper door, leaving a faint red smear. The door creaked open, just an inch. And through that narrow gap, a woman's face leaned in. Her skin was smooth and white like porcelain, her eyes hollow and black. And her mouth, stretched wide, impossibly wide, curved upward in a chilling smile. Greater than, po, po, po. I couldn't move. Her head tilted, her neck bending at an unnatural angle until it brushed the floor. Her long black hair spilled into the room like ink. Then she whispered my name. Greater than, Daichi? Dash dash dash. Grandfather's cry. Suddenly, grandfather burst into the room, swinging his wooden sword. He shouted an old prayer, his voice breaking. Greater than, leave him. You have no right to be here. The woman turned slowly toward him, her smile fading. For a moment, the air grew so heavy I couldn't breathe. Then, her body melted into a column of shadow, stretching upward until her head touched the ceiling. A sound like laughter and wind mixed together filled the room. Every talisman on the wall ignited at once. Grandfather screamed as the firelight flared. And then everything went dark. Dash dash dash. The morning after. When I opened my eyes, it was morning. The house smelled of burnt paper and salt. The charms were ashes. Grandmother was crying softly by the door. Grandfather lay still beside the altar. His eyes open, but empty. His wooden sword was broken in two. On the floor next to him, drawn in black ash, was a single handprint, large, delicate, and too long to be human. Chapter 6. The Breaking Seal. After grandfather's death, the village fell into an uneasy stillness. No one spoke his name. No one mentioned the night the firelight vanished and the white shadow devoured the dark. They buried him at dawn, beneath the old cedar behind the house. Grandmother stood in silence, clutching a single talisman in her trembling hands. When the monks finished their prayers, she whispered, "Greater than, he died protecting the seal. If the seal breaks, she'll return for him. And for you, Daichi." Her voice cracked on my name. The whispering forest. That evening, I went to the bamboo grove despite her warnings. The air was damp and heavy, the kind that clings to your skin. Every step I took sank into soft earth. And somewhere between the trees, I heard the faint hum of wind. No, not wind. Whispers. They came from the direction of the old shrine. The same shrine that Priest Kubo had tried to restore weeks before he vanished. The path was overgrown, vines crawling up the stone torii gates. The closer I got, the louder the sound became. A rhythmic, hollow noise, almost like laughter. Greater than po, po, po. The cracked statue. The shrine stood in ruins. The ground was scorched, as though lightning had struck it. The stone statue in front, the guardian deity that once kept her sealed, had cracked straight down the middle. Through the crack, something dark pulsed like a living heart. The air shimmered. I felt it then, her presence. Vast and suffocating. A breeze slid through the forest, cold enough to burn. And in that moment, I heard her voice, not from outside, but from inside my mind. "Greater than, Daichi, did you think you could forget me?" My knees buckled. The trees bent as if bowing to something enormous passing through them. Then I saw it. A tall figure, far beyond the trees, her dress trailing behind her like mist. She stopped, turned slightly, and though her face was hidden by the hat, I felt her eyes on me. Heavy, endless. Greater than, po, po, po. The seal shatters. The talisman on my chest suddenly burned, bursting into white flame. I screamed and fell backward. The sound of the forest warped into 1,000 voices crying, and the air cracked like broken glass. The statue exploded, scattering shards of stone. From the pit beneath it, black smoke coiled upward, forming a spiraling column that stretched into the sky. The ground trembled. Birds scattered. Somewhere behind me, grandmother was shouting my name. But her voice was drowned out by the rising, horrific sound. Greater than, po, po, po. Low at first, then deeper, louder, until it became an echo of laughter across the valley. The seal was gone. And I knew, in that instant, that she was free. The shadow on the hill. That night, from the window of my room, I saw the bamboo forest glowing faintly. Not with light, but with movement. A tall white shadow drifted between the trees. Each step she took made the ground tremble slightly. And the sound followed, soft and steady. Greater than, po, po, po. I watched until dawn. She never looked up at the house. But I could feel her smile. Chapter 7. The Return of the 8-Foot Woman. The wind howled through the bamboo forest like a cry of grief. The stalks swayed and cracked against each other, sounding almost human, as if they were trying to escape from something they couldn't see. Grandfather's old shrine behind the house was shaking, the ground splitting beneath it. Grandmother dragged me away, but the earth rumbled violently, scattering gravel and dust into the air. Then, from within the crumbling shrine, came a sound that froze my blood. Greater than, po, po, po. This time, it wasn't faint. It was alive. The awakening. The stone statue at the center of the shrine shattered into 100 pieces. From the ruins, a thick, black smoke poured out, climbing up the walls and curling toward the ceiling beams. Wherever the smoke touched, wood turned black and talismans burned to ash. And from that smoke, a figure emerged. A woman of impossible height, her long black hair dragging across the ground. Her white dress tattered and stained as if buried for centuries. She lifted her head slowly. There were no eyes, only two dark, empty holes. and a mouth that stretched far too wide, forming a grotesque smile. Greater than Daichi? She knew my name. She had always known. The escape. Grandfather's voice echoed in my head. Run. Grandmother grabbed my hand and pulled me through the back of the shrine. Down the path between the trees. Behind us, each of her footsteps made the ground tremble. And her laughter, that dreadful, hollow laughter, grew closer and closer. Greater than po. I looked back once, just once, and saw her moving through the mist, her long legs gliding across the forest floor, her head brushing the tops of the bamboo. Each time she bent forward, the air spun into violent gusts. A bamboo stalk crashed down in front of us. Grandmother pushed me over it, but she stayed behind. Greater than, go, she shouted. Go, Daichi. Her voice was swallowed by the wind. The sacrifice. I turned just in time to see her standing face to face with the woman. Hachishaku-sama loomed above her, tilting her head to one side, the corners of her mouth lifting in that terrible, familiar smile. She reached out with one long hand and touched grandmother's shoulder. Grandmother's body stiffened instantly. Her skin turned gray, her eyes wide open, and then she turned to stone. Greater than, po. Hachishaku-sama dragged her fingers down the statue's cheek, then looked toward me through the trees. Her voice was almost tender. Greater than, now it's just you, Daichi. The light of the charm. In my panic, I remembered the talisman priest Kubo had hidden in the salt jar. I pulled it from my pocket and held it tight, reciting the chant he had taught me. Greater than, Namu Daishi Henho Kongo. Namu Daishi Henho Kongo. The charm burst into white light. The glow spread outward, blinding and pure, pushing back the black smoke. Hachishaku-sama hissed and staggered backward, her hair whipping around her like fire. The light pierced the fog, revealing the shapes of children's spirits. Dozens of them, floating around her. They held hands, forming a circle of light between us and her. For the first time, I heard her scream. Not laughter, but pain. Her voice shattered the silence of the forest. And the wind turned wild with rage. The aftermath. When the light faded, she was gone. The shrine lay in ruins, blackened and silent. Grandmother stood frozen, still stone, still reaching toward me. I fell to my knees, sobbing, pressing my forehead to the cold stone of her feet. In the soft wind that followed, I heard faint laughter, not mocking, not cruel, but distant, almost sorrowful. Greater than, po. Chapter 8. The Road Back to Tokyo. After that night, Shizuoka village was never the same. The bamboo forest lay half burned, the shrine in ruins, and the air carried the scent of ash and salt. No one went near the forest anymore. Grandmother's stone figure remained behind the old shrine. The villagers said her spirit was keeping the forest sealed. That if anyone moved the statue, the curse would awaken again. The next morning, I was sent back to Tokyo. Grandmother's sister packed my things in silence. Before I left, she pressed a small wooden box into my hands. Greater than, take this. Your grandfather wanted you to have it. Inside was a burnt talisman, a cracked mirror, and a long strand of black hair. She looked me straight in the eyes. Greater than, keep it close. No matter what you hear, Daichi. Don't ever answer. The train ride. The morning train cut through the countryside, past rice fields silver with dew. I sat by the window, my face reflected against the blur of passing trees. I tried to sleep, but somewhere between the stations, beneath the sound of the wheels on the tracks, I heard it. Greater than, po. I froze. The sound came from the next car. I looked around. The other passengers were calm, reading, dozing, staring at their phones. No one seemed to hear. Then, through the fog outside the window, I saw her. A white figure standing in the middle of an empty field. Tall, still, watching the train pass. Her straw hat cast a shadow where her face should be. Just a blink, and she was gone. The charm in my pocket grew warm, almost burning. Tokyo. The city swallowed me whole. Lights, people, trains, noise. I thought maybe, in the crowd, she would lose me. Mother didn't know what had happened in Shizuoka. She thought I'd just been traumatized by grandfather's death. I didn't tell her about the nights I woke to the sound of wind scratching the window, or the faint laughter that came from the bathroom mirror. Greater than po. Mother said it was the wind. I wanted to believe her. The dream. That week, I began to dream of the bamboo forest again. Grandfather stood among the stalks, his eyes calm but hollow. He held his wooden sword, whispering something I couldn't hear. Behind him stood Hachishaku-sama, tall and motionless. She placed a hand on his shoulder and stretched her other hand toward me. I woke up drenched in sweat. The cracked mirror from the wooden box had fallen to the floor. A new fracture line ran through the center, as if something had tried to reach out from inside. The knock at 3 a.m. It happened 8 nights after I returned. Greater than knock. 3 soft knocks on my apartment door. I was alone. Mother was working a night shift at the hospital. Then came her voice. Greater than, Daichi, it's me. I forgot my key. My blood froze. Because I knew, my mother's voice was real. But she wasn't home. I stayed silent, gripping the burnt talisman in my fist. The voice came again, gentler this time, right by my ear through the wood. Greater than, open the door. Daichi, please, it's so cold out here. The charm burned in my hand, light spilling from between my fingers. A soft laugh drifted through the hall. Slow, melodic, familiar. Greater than, po. Then silence. The message. At dawn, I opened the wooden box again. The black hair had turned to ash. And across the cracked mirror, written in dark, dried blood, were the words. Greater than, she will follow you. Until the second light appears. I didn't know what it meant. The second light? The sun? My grandfather's spirit? But one thing I knew for certain. The curse had followed me to Tokyo. And Hachishaku-sama was not done with me yet. Chapter 9. The Second Light. Tokyo never truly sleeps. Neon lights flicker like artificial stars. Trains rumble under the streets. And people keep moving even when their souls are tired. But amid that noise, I felt a silence only I could hear. A faint, constant pulse, the rhythm of her presence, hidden between the sounds of the city. No matter where I went, no matter how bright the street was, the air around me was colder than it should be. Sometimes, when I blinked, I saw her reflection in the glass walls of skyscrapers. Or her white silhouette gliding through crowds that didn't notice her at all. Greater than, po. It wasn't echoing anymore. It was inside me. The message from the past. I kept thinking about the words written across the cracked mirror. Greater than, she will follow you until the second light appears. Desperate for answers, I went to visit my grandmother's sister again. When she saw me, her face went pale. Greater than, Daichi, it's too soon. The second light, it means the twin moon. A night that happens once every 12 years, when both worlds overlap. The twin moon? I asked. Greater than, yes, when 2 moons rise in the same sky, the boundary between the living and the dead fades. If the curse isn't broken before then, she will be reborn. Her hands trembled as she spoke. Greater than, go to Shuga Shrine, in the outskirts of Tokyo. The keeper there knows how to seal what's left of her. Shuga Shrine. The shrine was hidden between apartment blocks and power lines. Its old stone steps swallowed by moss and city dust. A tattered torii gate leaned against the wind. When I entered, I felt the air change. The noise of the city vanished, replaced by stillness, heavy and sacred. An old blind priest sat by the altar. He turned his head slightly when he heard my steps. Greater than, you carry her voice. he murmured. "It whispers through you like wind through dead leaves." I knelt before him. "Please, tell me how to stop it." The priest's blind eyes seemed to look straight through me. "Greater than, when Hachishaku-sama's seal was broken, part of her soul entered you. You are the vessel that keeps her alive." I felt my stomach drop. "Greater than, then, if I die, she dies too?" "Greater than, no," he said softly. "If you die, she is reborn. The twin moon night. The priest told me to return on the night of the twin moons. The night when one pale moon and one red moon would hang in the same sky. That would be the only moment when the seal could be renewed. I left the shrine trembling. The city lights blurred as I walked, my mind spinning. That night, I stood on my apartment balcony. And in the distance above Tokyo Tower, I saw them. 2 moons. One silver white. One blood red. And somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered with delight. "Greater than, Daichi, I've been waiting. The possession. The air thickened. The lights in the city flickered, one by one, until the whole skyline seemed to breathe. My reflection in the glass door began to move, even though I stood still. It smiled. Greater than, po. Then my body stiffened. My hand lifted on its own, pressing against the cold glass. Through my reflection, I saw her face replacing mine, pale, smiling, endless. I screamed, but the sound came out as laughter. "Greater than, we are one now. Daichi," her voice murmured from within. "There's no need to fight. Let me live, let me see the world again through your eyes." The city's hum vanished into silence. And in that stillness, I heard the faint sound of temple bells, far, far away. The dream of grandfather. That night, I dreamed of him again. Grandfather stood in the bamboo forest, his stone body cracked and glowing faintly. He said only one thing. "Greater than, the second light is not a warning, it's a door. You must choose which side to stand on before it closes." Then he faded into dust, carried away by wind. When I woke, my room was filled with moonlight, red and white, merging together. My shadow stretched across the wall, long and thin. And for a moment, I swear it moved on its own. Chapter 10. The night of the twin moons, when the spirit gate opens. That night, Tokyo was bathed in a strange, haunting light. 2 moons rose above the city, one white as bone, one red as blood. The air shimmered, as though the world itself was trembling between waking and dreaming. I made my way to Shuga Shrine, heart pounding with every step. The city felt distant, unreal. Even the sound of cars faded, swallowed by an invisible tide. By the time I reached the Torii gate, the world had gone silent. The blind priest was waiting there, his white robe fluttering like paper in the wind. "Greater than, it's begun," he whispered. "When the 2 moons meet, the gate will open. If she crosses fully, neither of us will survive." The preparation. He led me into the shrine courtyard. There, the ground had been marked with salt and ash, forming a perfect circle. At the center, 8 candles burned, 4 black, 4 white. He placed a cracked mirror on my chest, right over my heart. It was the same mirror that had once belonged to Priest Kubo. "Greater than, this will show her true form," the priest said. "But it will also show you what part of her already lives within you." The air vibrated. The candle's flames bent in one direction, as though pulled by something unseen. Then, from far beyond the Torii gate, came that sound. "Greater than, po. The priest's hands tightened on his prayer beads. "Greater than, she's here. The arrival. From the shadows of the trees, a figure emerged, taller than the shrine gates themselves. Her white dress floated just above the ground, her hair spreading like black smoke. The straw hat hid her face, but her presence filled every corner of the courtyard. Each step she took made the earth tremble softly. She spoke my name with tenderness, like a mother calling her child. "Greater than, Daichi?" The priest stepped in front of me. "Greater than, you cannot take him." She tilted her head, her voice smooth and terrible. Greater than, he belongs to me. He carries my soul. Then she laughed, low, melodic, echoing from every direction. Greater than, po, po, po. Dash dash dash. The gate opens. The ground split open in the middle of the shrine. From the fissure rose a column of black smoke, twisting and writhing like living shadows. Within it, faces appeared, children, countless children, weeping and laughing all at once. The priest's voice thundered through the storm. Greater than, by the name of Daichi Henho Kongo, return to the void. He shook a bell, its sound sharp and clear. For a moment, the laughter stopped. Then Hachishaku-sama screamed. The sound was not human, it was the roar of wind, of thousands of souls crying out in unison. Her body expanded, filling the shrine courtyard. Her face appeared from beneath the hat, white, cracked, smiling wide enough to split her cheeks. The mirror on my chest glowed. In its reflection, I saw two figures, her and me, their outlines merging, their hearts beating as one. Dash dash dash. The priest's sacrifice. Hold the mirror, the priest shouted. Don't let her inside. I gripped it tight. Light poured out, blinding and searing my skin. My vision blurred, my body burning with pain. The priest moved closer to the rift, chanting faster. Blood ran from his mouth, but his voice never faltered. Greater than, by this offering, may the worlds divide once more. Then he struck the ground with his staff. A shockwave of pure white light burst outward, colliding with the column of darkness. Hachishaku-sama screamed again, her voice cracking, breaking, dissolving. Her form flickered, torn between existence and nothingness. Greater than, Daichi, she whispered, almost gently. Don't forget me. And then she vanished into the rift, which sealed itself with a thunderous crash. Dash dash dash. The morning after. When I opened my eyes, dawn had come. The shrine was in ruins. The candles had melted to puddles. The blind priest lay beside me, motionless, his face peaceful. In his hand, he still clutched the prayer bell. The two moons were gone. Only a faint trace of red lingered in the sky. In the center of the courtyard, where the gate had opened, was a single, enormous footprint, pressed deep into the earth, pointing toward the direction of Shizuoka. Chapter 11. The Haunted School. A month passed after the twin moon night. The wound on my chest from the mirror had faded, but the feeling of her gaze never left me. No matter where I went, I could sense her, a silent presence that hovered just behind my reflection. Mother insisted I return to school, to go back to normal. But nothing felt normal anymore. The world looked the same, yet the air carried an invisible weight. A quiet tension, like the breath before a scream. Dash dash dash. The rumor. It started with whispers in the hallway. Greater than, did you hear? Someone saw a woman at school last night. Tall, wearing white, she was standing behind the gym. They said she laughed, weirdly. Like, po, po, po. The words hit me like ice water. I laughed weakly, pretending not to care, but my stomach twisted in fear. One girl, Aiko, from the class next door, was the first to talk about it openly. She said she'd been staying after school to clean, and saw a tall figure through the window on the third-floor hallway. A woman whose head nearly touched the ceiling. Thinking it was a teacher, she went to open the door. Just as her fingers touched the handle, she heard it. Greater than, po, po, po. The next morning, Aiko didn't come to school. Dash dash dash. The disappearance. By evening, the police were at the school. They said Aiko must have gone missing on her way home. But the janitor swore he'd found her hat by the gym entrance. And a handprint on the concrete wall. As long and pale as porcelain fingers. That night, I dreamed of her. She was standing in the hallway, barefoot, her eyes wide and hollow. She whispered. Greater than, Daichi, she's in the mirror, the one in classroom 3-2. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. Dash dash dash. The mirror. The next day, I went to classroom 3-2. It had been locked for years, no one used it anymore. The air inside was stale, thick with dust. At the front of the room stood a large mirror, cracked down the center. I walked closer. My reflection shimmered faintly. Something moved behind me. In the reflection, I saw her. The 8-foot woman, her head bent low to fit inside the room. Her long hair brushed the floor. Her face was still hidden, but her lips moved slowly. Greater than, po, po, po. Her hand reached out from inside the mirror, the tips of her long fingers pressing through the glass like water. I stumbled backward, whispering the chant my grandfather had taught me. Greater than, Namu Daichi Henho Kongo. Namu Daichi Henho Kongo. The bell rang for dismissal. The sound shattered the silence, and the image in the mirror dissolved. When I looked down, a single black strand of hair lay curled around my ankle. Dash dash dash. The knock. That night, as I tried to sleep, I heard a faint cough from inside my closet. Then, greater than knock, knock, knock. I froze. A soft voice came from the darkness. Greater than, Daichi, she wants me to tell you something. It was Aiko's voice. I turned on the light, the closet door creaked open, and she was standing there. Her uniform was torn and soaked in blood. Her eyes were empty, her mouth trembling. Greater than, she's not hunting children anymore. Behind her, a tall, white silhouette began to unfold. Stretching, twisting, towering to the ceiling. Greater than, po, po, po. The lights flickered. I threw the talisman from Shuga's shrine toward the closet and shouted the chant again. Greater than, Namu Daichi Henho Kongo. The door slammed shut. Silence returned. But on the wall beside it, burned into the paint, was the outline of a giant white hand. Chapter 12. The Second Mirror and the Soul Replacement Ritual. Tokyo's nights had become unbearable. Every sound, the creak of pipes, the hum of the fridge, the wind against the glass, sounded like her laughter. I could barely sleep. When I did, I dreamed of mirrors. In each dream, I saw hundreds of reflections of myself. And behind every one, her. Greater than, po, po, po. No matter how far I ran, she was there. Always smiling. Always waiting. Dash dash dash. The call from Shuga's shrine. 3 days after the incident at school, I received a phone call. The voice on the other end was hoarse, trembling. Greater than, Daichi-kun. This is the caretaker from Shuga's shrine. He spoke in hurried whispers. Greater than, the priest left something behind for you, a message. Hidden in his final record. You must come tonight, before the next moon. My blood turned cold. The next moon, that was tonight. Dash dash dash. The record of the twin moon. I returned to Shuga's shrine at dusk. The caretaker, an old man with deep lines on his face, led me into the ruined altar room. There, among the ashes and the melted candles, he showed me a weathered journal. Inside, written in the priest's elegant brush strokes, were these words. Greater than, the 8-foot woman cannot be destroyed. She is the shadow of sorrow itself, born from grief, sustained by fear. Greater than, only one thing can bind her again. The mirror of souls, when the cursed one offers his reflection willingly, and another offers life in exchange. The caretaker closed the book slowly. Greater than, that is the soul replacement ritual, he said. It demands 2 mirrors, 2 souls, and a sacrifice. I stared at him. Greater than, a sacrifice? He nodded. Greater than, one who takes her place in the void. Someone who must love you enough to face eternity in darkness. Dash dash dash. The visitor. That night, rain fell hard against my apartment windows. Lightning flashed, illuminating the cracked mirror on my desk. And then, softly, greater than knock, knock, knock. I turned. Standing in the doorway was Aiko. But she looked different. Her eyes were clear, her skin no longer pale. Greater than, Daichi, she said gently, I know what you had to do. My heart twisted. Greater than, you're dead. Aiko, I saw. Greater than, not yet. She whispered, she's between me and her world. but I can still choose. She stepped closer, holding out her hand. In her palm was a small silver mirror, its surface faintly glowing. Greater than, this is the second mirror, she said, the priest left it for you. It connects both souls, yours and hers. If we do this, she'll be sealed again, but one of us will vanish. The choice. I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. Greater than, no, I can't let you. Greater than, you don't have a choice. Daichi. Her smile was soft, almost peaceful. She wants you, but she needs me. Because I saw her too. Thunder shook the room. The lights went out. In the flash of lightning, I saw her, Hachishaku-sama, standing just behind Aiko, her hand resting on the girl's shoulder like a lover's touch. Greater than, po. The two mirrors began to glow. One silver, one dark red. Their reflections overlapped, me, Aiko, and her. Three shadows merging into one. The ritual. Aiko placed the silver mirror beside the cracked one. She whispered softly. Greater than, Namu Daishi Henho Kongo. Namu Daishi Henho Kongo. The air grew cold. Her body began to fade, light breaking through her chest like glass fracturing. Hachishaku-sama reached out, her laughter turning into a scream. Greater than, no, she belongs to me. Aiko looked back at me one last time. Greater than, tell her, I'm not afraid anymore. The two mirrors shattered at once. A burst of light filled the room. And everything went silent. After the storm. When I woke, the rain had stopped. The mirrors were gone, only ashes remained. The air felt lighter, as if something immense had finally exhaled. But Aiko was nowhere to be found. On my desk, burned into the wood, were faint words. Greater than, she sleeps. Until you forget. And from far away, faint, almost kind. Greater than, po. Chapter 13. The Forgotten Name. Months passed. The world began to move again, the way it always does after horror. Pretending it never happened. I went back to school. Classes, trains, neon lights, laughter, all the sounds of Tokyo filled my days again. And for the first time in years, I could sleep without fear. But something was wrong. Aiko's name slipped further from my memory each day. At first, it was her face I couldn't recall. Then her voice. And finally, even her existence. It was as if the world had rewritten itself, erasing her completely. The whispering hallway. One afternoon, as I walked past the old classroom 3-2, I heard two girls whispering. Greater than, hey, did you hear about the haunted mirror? They say there used to be a girl here. Aiko something, but no one remembers her. My blood ran cold. The room had been sealed since the night of the ritual. Through the dusty glass, I could barely make out the mirror's frame. It was empty now, no glass. Only a shadow where the reflection should be. And in that darkness, I thought I saw a faint smile. Greater than, po. I turned away immediately, but the sound followed me down the hall. Soft, rhythmic, like a heartbeat buried under laughter. The professor's warning. That evening, I visited Professor Ishikawa, a folklorist who specialized in urban legends. He had written about Hachishaku-sama years ago. When I mentioned her name, his face went pale. Greater than, don't say it. He hissed, that name is a curse itself. He took a deep breath, then spoke in a trembling voice. Greater than, you know the rule, right? Once her name is spoken aloud, she remembers who she was hunting. Greater than, you mean? I swallowed hard. Saying her name brings her back? He nodded slowly. Greater than, yes, forgetting protects you. But remembering, even for a second, invites her again. He looked out the window, his voice dropping to a whisper. Greater than, you've already said it once, haven't you? I didn't answer. But deep inside, I knew the truth. The photo. That night, I found an old photo in my drawer. A class picture from before Aiko disappeared. Everyone was smiling. But in the far corner, behind the last row of students, a tall, white silhouette stood half-faded, her head nearly brushing the top edge of the frame. I stared at it, heart pounding. And then, as if the air itself responded to my fear, the lights flickered. From the shadows of the room came a voice I hadn't heard in months. Greater than, Daichi? I turned slowly. Nothing. Then, from the photo. Greater than, Po. Dash. The return of memory. In that moment, every memory came rushing back. Aiko's smile, her sacrifice, the twin mirrors, the scream, the light. And with those memories came a sound. The deep, trembling laugh of the woman I tried so hard to forget. The window cracked. The reflection in the glass shifted. There she was again. Hachishaku-sama. Her face was clearer this time. Pale, cracked, smiling with a kind of sorrow. Greater than, did you forget me, Daichi? My body froze. I tried to look away, but her eyes held me. Then, softly, almost lovingly. Greater than, you promised you'd remember. Her hand reached toward the glass. I stumbled backward, screaming her name. Greater than, Hachishaku-sama. The instant I said it, the lights shattered. Dash. The awakening. The sound that followed wasn't laughter. It was breathing. Slow, deep, ancient. From every mirror in the room, the desk, the window, even the phone screen, shadows began to stretch outward, forming a shape taller than the ceiling itself. Greater than, Po. The curse had been sleeping. And I had just woken it again. Chapter 14, The Final Reflection. The night I spoke her name, every mirror in my apartment cracked. The reflections trembled like ripples in black water. In each fragment, I saw a different version of myself. One screaming, one crying, one standing silently in the dark. And behind them all, she was waiting. Greater than, Po. Her laughter spread through the glass like fire beneath ice. The air grew heavy, the temperature dropping with every breath. Then the largest mirror, the one in the hallway, began to glow. From within its fractured surface, a shape moved toward me. A voice whispered, greater than, come back, Daichi. You still owe me a reflection. Dash. Crossing the threshold, I pressed my palm against the glass. It was cold, too cold. The moment my skin touched it, the cracks pulsed with light, and the mirror softened beneath my hand like liquid. Before I could pull away, it swallowed me whole. Everything turned upside down. My lungs burned. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in a vast, endless space. A world made entirely of mirrors. The sky was glass. The ground shimmered like a frozen lake. And from every direction, I heard the same whispering voice repeating endlessly. Greater than, Po. Dash. The mirror world. At the center of that glass horizon stood a woman in white. Her face was hidden, her hat tilted downward. Each of her steps echoed like thunder. But the reflection beneath her feet didn't follow, it watched her. I called out. Greater than, Hachishaku-sama. This ends tonight. She stopped. Slowly, she turned her head toward me. Her face was pale, beautiful, and terrifying. A mask of sorrow and longing. Greater than, you remember my name, she said softly. That means you still belong to me. Her voice was both kind and cruel. Like a lullaby sung in a graveyard. Dash. The return of Aiko. A sudden gust of wind scattered the reflections around us. From one of the mirrors, a faint light appeared. A figure stepping out, barefoot, eyes gentle. It was Aiko. Her form flickered like a candle flame. But her smile was calm. Greater than, Daichi, she said, she isn't evil, she's empty. Hachishaku-sama's laughter stopped. She looked at Aiko, and for a moment, her expression faltered. Greater than, you took my place, she whispered. You should have stayed in the dark. Greater than, you wanted to be remembered, Aiko said softly. So remember this, you were once human. Dash dash dash. The confrontation. The ground of mirrors began to crack. And beneath it, I saw countless faces. Children's faces, silent and pale, staring upward. Each one whispered my name. I held up the silver shard that had once been part of the second mirror. It pulsed in my hand, glowing brighter with each heartbeat. Greater than Hachishaku-sama, I shouted. Take my reflection, but leave this world. She smiled sadly. Greater than, if I take it, you will vanish. Greater than, then so be it. I threw the shard toward her chest. Light exploded, filling the world with sound. 1,000 voices crying, laughing, breaking apart. Hachishaku-sama screamed, her body dissolving into glass dust that scattered through the void. Dash dash dash. The choice. When the light faded, only Aiko and I remained. She knelt beside me, her hand cool and soft. Greater than, you don't have to die, Daichi, she said. But if you stay, she'll sleep forever. If you go back, she'll follow you again. Tears blurred my vision. Greater than, then I'll stay. She smiled, a small, grateful smile. Greater than, then I'll go. Before I could speak, she pressed her hand against my heart. A warmth spread through me, and the mirror world began to fade. Greater than, po, po, po. But this time, it was gentle. A lullaby, not a curse. Dash dash dash. The return. I woke up in my apartment, the morning sun spilling across the floor. The mirrors were whole again. The air was still. On the wall, faintly etched in the glass, were 2 handprints, one large, one small. And below them, the words, greater than, she sleeps. Remember kindly. I looked at my reflection. Only my face looked back. For now. Chapter 15, The Last Echo. 10 years have passed since that night. Tokyo's towers reach higher now, the streets are brighter, louder, faster. People say ghosts fade when the city forgets them. They're wrong. Some memories wait beneath the noise, patient as dust. I'm 22 now. I work at the city library, restoring old manuscripts about forgotten folk legends. Every so often, when I touch a page too long, I feel the faint pulse of the past beneath the ink. A heartbeat that doesn't belong to me. Dash dash dash. The Book of Silence. One evening, a delivery arrived from Shizuoka Prefecture. A stack of records from abandoned temples. Among them was a sealed wooden box wrapped in faded prayer cloth. When I cut the cords and opened it, a gust of cold air brushed my face. Inside was a single scroll. No title. Only the mark of a straw hat pressed into the paper. The moment I touched it, I heard a whisper, distant but unmistakable. Greater than, po, po, po. The library lights flickered. For a heartbeat, my reflection in the window smiled back at me. Not with my mouth, but hers. Dash dash dash. The return of the wind. That night, rain poured over Tokyo. I walked home beneath the glow of vending machine lights, trying to convince myself it was imagination. But at the crosswalk by Shinjuku Station, the crowd froze for a second. Everyone turned the same way, toward the alley behind the ticket gates. There, beneath the red paper lanterns, stood a tall woman in white. Her head nearly brushed the awning. Her straw hat tilted low, hiding her face. Lightning flashed, and she was gone. The people around me blinked, confused. Only I had heard it. Greater than, po, po, po. Dash dash dash. The visit. When I reached my apartment, the door was unlocked. Inside, the air smelled faintly of incense. On my desk lay the cracked mirror, the one I thought had vanished years ago. Across its surface were words written in condensation. Greater than, Daichi, thank you. My hands trembled. The mirror warmed beneath my fingers. And for a moment I saw Aiko's face reflected beside mine. She smiled. Then her image faded into light. Behind that fading glow, another reflection lingered, taller, darker, wearing a straw hat. Greater than, po, po, po. Dash dash dash. The last sound. I didn't run. I simply whispered back. Greater than, rest. The mirror cracked once more. And the sound echoed through the room like a closing door. Outside, the wind carried a final laugh. Soft and hollow, drifting into the city's hum. Greater than, po, po, po. Then, silence. Dash dash dash. Epilogue, a voice in the wind. Every year, on the night when the twin moons rise, I light incense and place 2 mirrors side by side. One for the living, one for the forgotten. Sometimes, when the flame flickers, I swear I hear a woman humming a lullaby through the glass. It isn't frightening anymore. It's sad, and strangely gentle. Like the sigh of someone finally free. The curse began in a summer field. With a laugh that wasn't human. It ended beneath Tokyo's neon sky, where memory itself became a doorway between life and death. Some say Hachishaku-sama is gone. Others say she waits in reflections. In the silence between thunder and wind. In the mirrors that face the moon. If you ever hear her gentle voice behind you, don't turn around. Just close your eyes and remember. Greater than, po, po, po.
Like and subscribe to Whispering Dark Tales for more chilling ghost stories.